Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Can anybody hear me in the chat? If anyone can hear me, just push one in the chat. All right, there's some confirmation here. Thank you for the confirmation, Rain Woman. Good evening to you. And welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 316, Black Car Talk. Please hit the like button as you come in. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the alerts and updates from the Black Brain Trust on the, including those on the community tab, as well as when we go live. Super Triz, what's going on? Kareem Austin, what's going on? Complex Design, yo. Tide City, what's going on? There's a link in the chat for you to join the panel. If you want to join the panel, just raise your hand when you're in the waiting room so we can acknowledge you and bring you onto the panel. All right, let me get started. I don't think we have a heck of a whole lot tonight. This shouldn't be long. I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible because I have to get up early tomorrow. So let me share the screen. All right. First item on the docket is from Engadget.com. Akimoto is finally shipping its three-wheeled EV to customers. That's a picture of it. After more than a decade of working on its Fun Utility Vehicle, or FUV, Akimoto is finally shipping the three-wheeled EVs to customers. The company announced today that it's entered production mode, which means you could see the FUV cruising around California, Oregon, and Washington in the near future. The FUV was designed to lower CO2 emissions, but also take up less space than the typical EV. The result is something between a car and a motorcycle. It reaches a top speed of 75 miles per hour, has a city driving range of 102.5 miles per charge, supports level 2 charging, and costs $19,900 before tax credits and EV rebates. It comes with heated seats and grips, Bluetooth speakers, removable doors, and lockable rear storage. The milestone is the culmination of 12 years of effort by an incredibly talented team to bring to market a truly affordable, incredibly fun, hyper-efficient, small footprint EV for everyday driving, said Mark Frohnemeyer, Akimoto's founder and president. To start, Akimoto is selling to customers on the West Coast, but the company hopes to expand into other states, and it plans to fill all of its pre-orders, more than 3,000 by the end of next June. The FUV is Akimoto's first EV, but there are already two more in the pipeline. The Deliverator, meant for local and last mile deliveries, and the Rapid Responder, designed for emergency medical services and campus security. If you're interested but want to test drive the FUV before you throw down nearly $20,000, you may be happy to know that Akimoto has a rental center in Oregon. So Goes back to the picture. It's very interesting, man. Looks kind of Frenchish, if I should attribute it to anything from a origin standpoint. My first initial look at it is it's half motorcycle, half car. It looks kind of like a tuk-tuk in a way, but it's combination of like a golf cart, combination of a motorcycle, combination of a what they call those key cars in Japan. There's a lot of ways they can go about doing this. Although it only holds 2 people, that's really all you need. I mean, if you buy a roadster or a coupe or something like that, you can only fit 2 people in there. So that shouldn't be a negative to this FUV or whatever they want to call it. Let me start advancing people to the panel. Yo, what's going on, dudes?
Yeah. What's going on, Mike?
Chilling, man, chilling. What y'all take on this?
That's this particular layout chassis design is nothing new. We've seen it with the Capana T-Rex. We've seen this design with the to a certain extent with the Can-Am. Although this is more of a the actual the steering is more car based as opposed to the Can-Am, which is they're trying to make it reminiscent of a motorcycle. But at the end of the day, it's a design that utilizes the 3-wheel layout with like a reverse trike. So it's more stability by having the 2 wheels up front. There are some benefits to this layout, but there are some drawbacks as well. Obviously, it's a 2-seater, so you sacrifice some of the practicality. The highway, the max speed, I believe, was 75 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour, something to that effect. So, and that may only be under optimal conditions. So when we look at this is more of a somebody like, say, for instance, like where I'm at, Oregon, Portland area, and where I'm at, Seattle, perhaps even Boston. It will make sense in an urban center where parking is at a premium. And you're looking for just quick jots around town. But once you actually try to take this on a highway, then that begins to wonder, like, okay, how practical is it for highway cruising? Because that mileage probably would greatly diminish if you're operating that vehicle at highway speeds. You're talking about 70, 75 miles an hour, and that's the top speed of that vehicle. And most people, like myself, I'm doing 80, sometimes, depends where I'm, allegedly. But so the usage for this vehicle is rather limited. The price point is somewhat attractive, but then you start thinking about used car markets. There may be more attractive bargains, such as a hybrid Prius used, or maybe even if you want a roadster experience, probably a Mazda MX-5. So I think it's more of a niche, customer base. I don't know what you guys' take is on that.
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, because I just wanted to make a point that
what up, Tree?
Yo, what's going on, Thai City? One of the things is that the speed limit on most highways in urban centers or outside of urban centers is 65 miles an hour. So 75 is appropriate for a vehicle like this. And I know in Massachusetts we call them LUVs, which are limited use vehicles. So that's what this would fall under. It wouldn't actually fall because it doesn't have airbags and it doesn't qualify as a full vehicle because as a full car because it doesn't have 4 wheels.
Well, it's actually the reason why a lot of companies are opting to go with a 3-wheel setup is because you can bring on the market quicker because they're technically looked at as a motorcycle.
Yeah, and no crash safety standards.
If that's right, no crash safety standards. There's a whole bunch of things you get away get away from if you design the car with 3 wheels as opposed to 4. So, wait, you guys hear me okay, or is that me?
We can hear you.
Okay. So that's the reason why a lot of the initial offerings, and this isn't the only company. God, man, I've been trying to think of the bike company for a good minute. They have a big facility based out of like Venice. And I can't remember the guy's name, but like a year ago,
Pacific
2 years ago. Nah, it ain't me. I wish it was me. Yeah, like, so what that guy do is he crowdsourced the money to build the first prototype, and then once the first prototype was built, the dude secured like another, I don't know how much in funding to then do a run to get the car actually certified for use in the United States. But it was basically the same concept. He went with a 3-wheel setup so that the car could actually be registered as a bike. You get away from crash testing. There's a whole bunch of things you avoid if you make a car with 3 wheels instead of 2. So I get why this is kind of the preferred angle to take, because for the general electric cars, the United States is making it next to impossible for anyone to either bring those in or manufacture them here.
My take on it is, if it had 4 wheels, I don't think it would take up that much more space as far as parking is concerned. But
it does.
Yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be a no for me, Jack.
Yeah, but as Complex said, once you have the four wheels, you have to have a certain amount of compression for the bumpers, front and rear, and also side impact. Like, all these crash standards make the vehicle considerably bigger just by adding the 4 wheels to make it marketable, or for American roads.
You can look at the weight. You can look at the weight of a Nissan Z 240Z in comparison to like a 370Z. You can see there's a stark difference. It's almost 800 pounds of weight difference between just those 2 cars, and that's because of all the crash safety standards that it has to apply to. You can just feel the weight of the doors. Man, the doors are significantly heavier than what they were 20 years ago. It's just not feasible to actually bring a vehicle like that to market if you're a small scale startup.
And also, with the 3-wheel vehicles, a lot of states don't require a motorcycle license, even if it's classified. They have sometimes they have a 3-wheel classification, which is substantially easier to get a licensing for. And then you have the some states, they just it's just the same driver's license as the actual car. So it's no special requirements for that particular vehicle. So it has its advantages, but I think this is more of a niche market because of some of the sacrifices and practicality, and maybe like the universal applications. Cargo capacity is limited, seating capacity is limited. If you want to go across country, doubt you want to do that in that vehicle. If you live out in a rural area where you don't really have access to electric charging stations and stuff like that, that may be an issue as well. But I think that, in some of these urban areas, I think it'd be a great vehicle. Like if you live in LA, Seattle, Portland, Boston, New York, tri-state area, it'd be a great vehicle in areas like that.
I agree. And and that's why it's a niche market. It's also, this is all still new as well, so you still have people still trying to get used to the concept and an idea of an electric bike, right? So electrification in all forms is a very new platform for a good majority of people. But if anybody's looking to take the plunge, if you will, I would see them more than likely, if they're not buying something like a Nissan Leaf on the used market, right? Because for like 20 grand for that bike, you could get you a used Neon Leaf for probably like 15. You know what I mean?
You have to worry about the battery maintenance on it as well, because at some point the battery is going to depreciate.
Right.
Well, this is one example of a similar vehicle with 4 wheels. And
that's a Twizy right there.
Yeah.
That's a Renault.
Yeah, and the problem is this could never come. Well, we do have them in Boston now, but only the universities have them. But the problem is,
That's actually modular, right?
yeah, but the problem is that it only seats one, and it costs significantly more than that Akimoto that we just saw. And what I'm saying here is that yeah, you can put four wheels on it, but what happens when you need to pass crash safety standards? They can't get these certified in the United States, so you have no other choice but to go with three wheels.
Hey, Mike, can you do me a favor? Look up the Renault Twizy F1. They made a race version of that. Renault did.
Wow.
Massive electrification, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's super fast.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that that's something you would use. I mean, there's extreme limited use. Let's just make that clear up front. But this vehicle in particular has four wheels, but only seats one person. You know, you have three wheels on the Akimoto, and it seats two people, and it has a trunk too. You know, the way how I look at it, man, is that Akimoto, man, is moving in the right direction from a startup perspective, man. If I had the loop, if I had 100 G's, if I had 150, 200 G's, that's exactly the sort of startup that I would be focusing on. I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Hey, Mike, do they have cars to go in Boston?
Yes.
See, I think this would be a good application for cars to go.
Yeah.
Like in some of these city centers, you just have a vehicle like this, and then you will probably have like some type of interface, maybe through GPS or maybe just a paper-based map system. So that way,
Geofencing is what they call it.
Yeah, so consumers know where the actual electric charging stations are at, and just have a vehicle like that. You hop in real quick, you get to where you got to go somewhere in the city, and then you just park it somewhere and you get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, geofencing would actually limit the ability for someone to actually take one of these on the highway, and like you said, somebody going by you 80 miles an hour. That's pretty normal. The thing is, if there's geofencing on these vehicles, you can get to anywhere outside of Boston through the Minuteman Trail. So there's all types of back roads set up. The way the state is set up so that you can actually traverse outside of the highway itself to get from east to west. And that's part of the reason was the fight the British. A lot of back roads were set up, to get to the Springfield Armory and keep the arms away from the British invaders at the time. That's another story. But Ty City said he had a whole lot of smoke, man. I think he
Before I get to the smoke, I got a disclaimer before I get to the smoke.
Go ahead, bro.
I seen the light, bro. I seen the light. When I seen the light is when I guess the refinery got hit over there in Iran.
You mean Saudi Arabia?
Yeah. So So what happened is that's only 5% of the oil, and they said it's supposed to affect the gas price by 20%.
Mm-hmm. I made sure I went and got my tank filled up. The tank's filled up before that even happened. As soon as I heard it, I ran right out.
Dog, the fact that 5% of the refined oil can inflate the price 20%, that's when I seen the light. Seen the light.
Did you see the Datsun mod, the electric one? Datsun 240Z?
I seen the E30 BMW with the Tesla swap.
It's happening, dog. You got to get up on that.
I know. I seen the light, bro.
you. Let me get to this article real quick.
Just give me my late pass, man.
Oh yeah, man. All right, this next one is from Moto1.com. Porsche Taycan face on 718 Cayman body looks so natural. Not gonna lie, that does look hot.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Did I hear that Thai City saw the light?
No,
Oh
I
yeah,
seen
man.
the light, dog. I seen the light, bro. I put it on everything, man.
Hallelujah.
My next new vehicle will probably be all electric. No bullshit. I seen the light. I was like, what happened if somebody just went on a whole tirade just attacking oil refineries? Like,
Man, Thai City, you bandwagon, man.
nah, fam. Nah,
Damn.
fam. I just feel like if you was trading oil futures, bro, you shorted the market. I mean, you longed the market. You made a killing.
Hmm. What y'all think about this rendering of this Porsche came in with the Taycan front end on it?
How much is it gonna weigh? That's my question before we go any further. How much
Oh,
is it gonna weigh?
there's no way to determine what a Cayman with an electric motor would weigh.
Yeah, so like that's my thing. Like well, obviously you're gonna go to a 2-seat layout, but really you're giving up the practicality of having 4 seats. And what do you get in exchange? Are you getting a substantial weight reduction? I mean, are the driving dynamics going to be that much more enhanced?
You're getting
price point.
What you're getting is a whole completely different performance profile. Like, you're not getting nearly the type of torque and acceleration. Shoot, I would even throw in top speed if you really do a wild algorithm, in the ECU. So I think from a performance standpoint, and this has just been my experience, dude, like tinkering with stuff, man. Like, yeah, there's the customary allure of like a powerful engine, gas engine, but you can't get over the efficiency of an electric motor. An electric motor just outperforms a gas motor, dude, in every category. Mm-hmm. So when you say, well, what's to be gained out of this? I would say just top to bottom performance gains.
There's a lot of feedback coming from you, Complex. All right.
I mean, I'm wondering. Okay, this is supposed to be an electric variant, correct?
It's a possibility of where the next Cayman will go if it does go electric. The 991 and 992 chassis is actually designed to fit batteries behind the motor, so or behind the passenger seat. So, it sounds like they plan on going electric at some point, but the question is when. The first 911 hybrids will come out next summer, and then the full electric won't be out till at least 2022 or something like that. I like it personally. I think that's dope. We know that the GT4 is it keeps 100% pace or 99% pace with the GT3 911. So it's if that's any indication of where they would go with the electric variant, I don't see anything wrong with that.
I'm not a fan of that front end, man.
Oh, you the same guy that will put, the Dodge Challenger front end on a Dodge Magnum.
No, I don't do that. I wouldn't do that like that. Hey, I'm the Liberty Walk with the wide wheels. That's what I would do. RWB.
Even worse.
That's me. I'm here to ruin all the purest dreams. That's what I'm here to do.
You just made my purest dream a nightmare.
All right, let me read this next article. This one is from ClassicCars.com. California governor gets bill that ends instant fines for loud exhaust. You may recall the upset earlier this year when drivers in California started receiving fines for having exhaust systems that were too loud to meet the requirements of law passed in May 1998 that prohibited vehicle exhaust louder than 95 decibels. Though the law had been on the books for more than 20 years, what changed was a bill passed in 2018 that required police officers to issue an immediate fine instead of the traditional 30-day repair notice. Steps were taken in the California Assembly to stop the immediate fines and return to the 30-day repair program. And SEMA reported this week that SB 112 has gone to Governor Gavin Newsom's desk for his signature. SB 112 is a budget implementation bill that restores the Fixit ticket instead of levying an immediate fine, SEMA said. SEMA thanks Assembly members Grayson, Warner, Horvath, Ting, and Chen, and Senator Mitchell for their tireless work on behalf of the over 1,700 member companies based in the Golden State. SEMA's Vice President for Legal and Government Affairs, Daniel Ingber, was quoted in the organization's news release. As for the people who equip their vehicles with aftermarket exhaust systems, Ingber added, thanks to their efforts, enthusiasts in California will continue to be afforded due process under the law. That's interesting, man. That's real interesting.
Man, it was some bullshit, dude. Like now it's just like if you got, it's really just up to a cop. If your car so much as like makes a noise other than stock, they can just pull your ass over and give you like a straight up citation, dude. It's not even like a fix-it ticket. Mm-hmm. So what's happened is that you have a lot of shops who make like, custom exhausts and all that type of stuff. And man, their businesses are just tanked because nobody wants to put an exhaust on their car that has a throaty note to it or something, because as soon as it comes across to a cop that doesn't sound like that car is stock, next thing you know, you're getting slapped with, I think it's $1,000. I think the ticket's $1,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is completely bullshit. Like, this is what I hate about California. Now, I'm from California, born and raised, and I remember that I would get a ticket from this same fucking cop, excuse my language, this same cop. Every time he would see me, he would give me a limo tent ticket and he would give me an exhaust ticket. Every time I saw him, I would try to go different routes so I wouldn't see him. Like on my way to work, he would pull me over. First, he would make me late to work, and then he'd give me a fix-it ticket for limo tent and modified exhaust. And so luckily, I knew somebody that would actually sign off my tickets from my reserve center in the military. I would just bring him a ticket. He would sign off. I don't know if y'all can do that now anymore. And now they're talking about an instant fine, which makes it even worse. It's not even a fix-it ticket anymore. But, in California, what they used to do, I don't know if Complex, they still do this, but they would actually set up almost like a sobriety checkpoint. But instead of sobriety checkpoint, they would have like cops out there like at like certain nights of the week, like on Wednesday night, Thursday night, when the racers are out. They would have like a checkpoint, and they would have mechanics out there, and they would actually open up the hood of your car and give you tickets for modified stuff that would interfere with emissions. They will measure the ride height of your car, like how low it is off the ground, all kind of crazy stuff, and give you fix-it tickets. Do they still do that, Complex?
In some areas, yeah.
That's why I hate California. Such bullshit.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, you do it in the state.
Me is,
oh, go ahead, Ty.
The part that aggravates me is these loud ass Harley Davidsons and shit, and they be making all kinds of noise, all types of night, all times of morning. Like, it don't matter. Like, I know.
Dude, what do you think the number one argument is with everybody out here who has cars and stuff, and you got your a HKS or whatever kind of Borla set up on yours, and some dude comes barreling down the street, loud ass Harley, and it's like twice as loud as your car, and it's like, well, you motherfuckers don't give them tickets.
But the Harleys make a lot of.
Yeah, I think motorcycle exhaust notes are supposed to be 85 decibels. The Harleys have been measured at 120.
I was about to say they're over 100.
Yeah, so if they're measured at 120, In Europe, the standard is for motorcycles is supposed to be 80 decibels, or 78 decibels if I remember correctly. So your Ducatis and stuff like, they don't have that problem. It's America that has this problem, but America also has police officers with these Harley Davidson motorcycles. So why is it that the Harley Davidson motorcycles have such a quieter exhaust than the non government sanctioned vehicles? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, man, is that if your ass is driving around in a fucking blown V8, you know, some high comp, you know, nosed out big block or something, okay, those don't have it exactly in a quiet exhaust on those either. Them dudes don't ever get, they're not getting ticketed. It's if you got like a stanced Acura, you know, or something like that, you know, a Honda, then yeah,
they're gonna be on your ass.
expect the ticket. But if you've got you like a big V8, if you got you a Harley or some shit like that, no problem.
It also depends on who's driving it. Like if you black, oh, you definitely getting a ticket. I don't care what it is. If it's loud, if you black, no, I'm dead serious. See,
Nah, I know.
So
I know. That's why I'm laughing, because I've been there.
Yeah, people think California is so progressive, but you know, California still got a lot of racism and hatred. And they say you black, guarantee you getting a ticket. And you know, the thing about it is that I think what some of these manufacturers have to do, which they'll have to go to the electronic exhaust cutout. So when I had my Mustang, I had put electronic exhaust cutout, so I had a switch where I can bypass the mufflers and the catalytic converters, and it would just dump after the headers. And you know, it would be super, super loud. But then, like, if I want to be quiet, I can close the exhaust, and it will route through the mufflers and everything else. But the problem with that is that you know, that technology at the time, the technology wasn't that good. So occasionally my exhaust will get stuck open or stuck closed because of the heat. So I eventually got the electronic exhaust cutouts taken off, but I don't know if the technology has advanced any further, because I think it works well with cars that are, you know, from the factory, because you have cars from the factory that have that feature where they can like change the exhaust note, you know, depending on the sport mode or economy mode or track mode or whatever the case may be. So maybe the technology is a lot better now. I'm not sure.
Well, as far as the cutouts are concerned, so you couldn't get ticketed, you know, okay, if it's wide open, then you know, and it's loud and they give you the ticket for that, then sure. Okay, the cutouts themselves, it's not illegal for shops to do it on a car, but now what they'll do is, you know, you were talking about those inspection sites where they basically, you go and there's like a checkpoint and they're like, oh yeah, let's lift your hood. They're gonna, you know, so if they find the if they're savvy enough and they find that you have cutouts on the exhaust, they'll ticket you for that, because the law stipulates that what you can't do is you can't modify a factory exhaust. So that would be the reason how they would ticket you for cutouts, unless you went with a bespoke exhaust kit that included the cutouts in it. Then that's different. But yeah, if you mod your exhaust and you know, basically you just cut the pipes and then you throw the little actuator in where it has the little door that opens and closes. Yeah, if they catch that up under there, dude, yep, it's fine.
Yo, the other day I had seen a 335i with a single turbo kit on it, and the guy had the downpipe turned up coming out of the hood.
Oh.
Man, that thing sounded so good, man. It just, oh my God, I was throwing flames just on the highway.
I was about to say, yeah, you know, you got flames shooting up out the hood, man.
And that shit was hard, man.
When you get a chance, when you get a chance, Todd City, and you find that video on YouTube, send it to us. I want to see it.
Okay.
Like, I saw a couple Corvettes when they would have like kind of like a Route 66 commemorative whatever car show, whatever, where they drive down, you know, foothill, and they had the Corvettes that had the individual throttle bodies poking out the hood with flames shooting out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like stuff like that really makes cars, you know, so much fun. It's like California is ruining all that, man. You can't even have any kind of fun at all.
You can, dude. It's just that way you can. The thing is that they've relegated everything to the tracks now. That's why you got so many club events, speed ventures, all that type of stuff now, because everybody just takes their cars out. That's what they want people doing, taking their cars to the track. They don't want them on the street no more.
I want to be in the streets. I'm in the streets. I'm out here.
You're not in the street, you're in the streets.
I want to move to California to get into the car industry, man. That was like a big goal that I wanted to do when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I would still consider it, bro, because it's you gotta understand, man. California is just a car the state has a car culture here. You know, none of it. It'll never go away. It'll never go away. And if you can build like reliable, fast motors that kick ass, there's business here for you.
Let me get to this next article real quick. This one is from Yahoo Lifestyle. Florida man converts a 17-year-old Mercury Cougar into a $125,000 Bugatti Veyron. His name is Ty City. Finally,
you can rent it.
Finally, a Florida man story that even Rob Report can get behind. A resourceful Florida resident has somehow transformed his 2002 Mercury Cougar into a makeshift Bugatti Veyron, and the effort is nothing less than impressive. The 17-year-old converted coupe now showcases the signature sensual lines and exquisite metallic blue paint job of bona fide Bugatti. A Craigslist ad for the car even specifies that the wing retracts just like the real one. Of course, the innards of the Cougar, as well as we will henceforth call it, are a different story. Though the exhaust is touted as throaty and strong, the Cougar's V6 engine is only capable of delivering a measly 170 horsepower, a very far grunt from the Veyron's gnarly 1200 horsepower. The Bugatti branded speedometer shows an ambitious top speed of 280 miles per hour, and while the Veyron was once the fastest street legal ride with a top speed of 268 miles per hour, the Mercury's max speed would likely sit around 140 miles per hour. Aside from the performance, there are a few notable design differences too. The mashup comes complete with back seats, which an authentic Veyron does not have. Moreover, the suede ceiling and dash and leather upholstery is a rather hodgepodge. The colors don't match and is decidedly weathered. Certainly not something you would see in a legitimate seven-figure Bugatti. The Cougar was first listed on Craigslist 13 days ago for $125,000 and has subsequently appeared on Car Export America for $128,000, which makes it either the world's most expensive Mercury or the world's cheapest Bugatti. If you're tempted by the possibility of getting a Bugatti lookalike for a tenth of the price, the Marquis sold around 450 Veyrons for roughly $1.3 million each in bespoke versions for as much as $3.3 million. Let us remind you of the genuine luxury cars that can be bought for the same amount. Porsche's new 2020 911 Carrera, Tesla's 2019 Model S, or the 2020 Cayenne Coupe. That said, we can't help but give this Florida man an A for his audacity and imagination. Earlier this year, we saw similar ingenuity and pluck from a father and son who decided to 3D print their own Lamborghini Aventador. These ambitious undertakings like the Veyron Illicit, or like sorry, may ruffle feathers or of purists, but they underscore the passion for design that supercars like the Veyron elicit. Rob Report has reached out for comment, but the creator is yet to respond. Perhaps he's too busy turning a Ford Fiesta into a Ferrari Stradale. I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, it's not going to sell for $125,000. That's for damn sure. But I think the effort, man, that shit look. I mean, even T-Pain is like, yo, how can I get a down payment on that?
But Mike, you don't think you can rent that out and make tons of money?
Of course, he can use that for rap videos. These sucker ladies out here, man, be out here, you know,
all
they be running
day
around
long,
hard,
bro.
man, hard, pulling up to the club, hard.
That car will probably bring you $100,000 a year, renting it out.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, all he has to do is set up an app and have the yo-yos out there, you know, booking rides on it, man, and they just use it for their rap videos. They just pull up, looking
prom
stupid.
nights.
Oh yeah,
Rap video rentals.
Yeah,
That's actually a really good idea as far as usage for that vehicle, because yeah, as far as somebody buying it, I don't think so. But I mean, I've seen examples myself of people with these fake cars. Like I seen a guy who had an old Rolls Royce. It was still a Rolls Royce, but it was an old Rolls Royce, and somehow he grafted a front end from a Phantom onto this old Rolls Royce. And I knew it was weird because I looked at the back. I'm like, that's an old Rolls Royce, and I saw the front had a Phantom front on it. And you look at the interior, obviously, you know, the interior is an old vehicle. And then, like, you know, we've seen that with the actual people grafting new Escalade fronts on old Escalades. You look inside the interior of the car, you look at the steering wheel don't have any buttons on it, so you know it's an old vehicle. So, but the thing about it is that women, they're none the wiser. They see a vehicle like that and they still clamoring around your car. So from that perspective, it does its purpose, you know?
yeah. If you're from Mansfield 2.0, you would love one of those grafted vehicles, man.
Oh man.
That's how you get down. But I think this Bugatti, man, there's so much. I mean, the idea of just selling it is so stupid. I mean, look at the steering wheel, man.
Dog, I'm telling you, Mike, I will rent that car to the moon. I will rent it out to the moon. I offer him 80.
Mm-hmm.
Trust
And they had to put that right in front of a nice house too, man.
I mean, look at it. That's Instagram ready.
Yeah. Where's Birdman when you need him? Put some respect on my name.
Birdman and Mayweather and them got a real funny way of losing all of their cars in transport through fires and whatnot.
Yeah. I'd be into. I mean, let's look at the 3D printed Aventador. Interesting in seeing how that came out.
I think we may have talked about this too, but there was like those students in Iran that produced a Lamborghini, like just from scale drawing, from the technical drawings, they reproduced one.
Your mic has a lot of feedback complex. Yeah, I'm not really feeling this whole 3D printed Aventador, but that Bugatti's sick. That Bugatti is too sick, man.
I'm telling you, I offer him $80,000, and then I'll be renting for $800 a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll make your money back in a year or so.
But I mean, it's all the Ford Mercury parts you gotta worry about.
This is terrible.
You mean
It's terrible.
A front wheel drive Bugatti. I'm dead.
Bugatti just turned in his grave.
No. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. It could have been like a Mazda RX-7 or something like that.
All right, all right.
All right, let me get to this next article, man. It's from Reuters.com. Ford GM rev up electric pickup trucks to head off Tesla. Large pickup trucks that tow most of the profits into Ford Motor Co. and General Motors Co. are holdovers from another century, with heavy ladder frames and big internal combustion engines in the front, driving the big wheels in the back. Now Ford and GM are racing to design radical new takes on their most profitable models, replacing petroleum-fueled engines with batteries in a bid to outflank Tesla's incorporated plan to eclipse their brands. Ford's F-150 pickup and GM's Chevrolet Silverado are the top-selling vehicles in the U.S. market. This is going to be a real watershed for the whole industry. Ford chairman Bill Ford told Reuters in a recent interview, the automaker has disclosed few details about the electric F-Series, but Bill Ford hinted the truck could have load carrying space under the hood in addition to the traditional beds in the back. You pick up all that extra space where the engine compartment has been, Ford said. An electric F-Series could be a work truck with its batteries functioning as a job site power source, he said. And it could be positioned as a high-performance vehicle next to the gas-fueled 450 horsepower Raptor pickup truck. The Dearborn, Michigan-based company has said it will invest $11.5 billion electrifying its vehicles by 2022, including adding 16 fully electric models, all of which will be profitable. Ford and GM have more than one reason to take chances on electric pickups, a concept that some analysts and industry executives say could be a small niche. Electric pickups could help Ford and GM generate the significant sales of EVs they will need to meet tougher emission standards and electric vehicle mandates in California and other states. The Trump administration is moving to roll back those standards, but the electric trucks are a hedge if California prevails. Governments and corporations, major buyers of pickups, could view electric pickups as a way to show a commitment to reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Competition from Tesla and EV startups Rivian Automotive and Workhorse Group Incorporated is another factor, although Ford recently mitigated some of that risk by investing $500 million into Rivian. 3 years ago, Tesla CEO Elon Musk declared he wanted to attack the heart of the Detroit automaker's franchises with a Tesla electric pickup he has described as a cyberpunk truck with the performance of a Porsche 911 sports car. Tesla is expected to unveil a prototype this year, with analysts forecasting a 2022 debut. Musk declined to comment for this story. Interesting. Oh damn! The screen stopped sharing.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was sharing.
Yeah, I think it stopped.
Oh, okay. You guys should also check out. There's a couple of people on YouTube that have taken Model S's and hacked them into pickups.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
And they claim it's very, very purposeful to have like a tow bed or like a bed to put stuff in, and how like they don't see any difference in performance, like loading the back of the Model S up.
versus just driving around regular. It's just like the electric motor, the torque just eats it. You don't notice the difference.
I think with the trucks, the under hood compartment will be good for like tools, like a toolbox type of situation.
Yeah, yeah.
Dodge picked up a lot of sales because they had that little toolbox on the side built into the side of the bed. Utility is a gold mine with those trucks.
Or even something simple as just being able to put groceries the into the front part of the truck, because sometimes maybe you don't want to put groceries in the bed of the truck. Maybe it's raining, or you in the bed of the truck, you got to reach over the bed of the truck to actually fit anything in there. If your truck is lifted, it's just not as practical as having like a conventional trunk like apparatus to put something simple like groceries in.
Well, you can also think about how this would actually power up a house. If you have one of these, I guess, LEED 2002 or whatever the standard is for a house, for residential and commercial real estate, you could actually use one of these to power up a house and use it as a power wall, an external power wall.
Yeah.
Especially in a disaster. If you had a disaster like what happened in Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas, if the vehicle was actually secure, you could actually power up a whole lot of things with just that one truck.
Yeah.
So imagine you take a series of trucks and you plug it into a grid, and you can actually get enough sufficient power to a location.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Hey, Mike. You know what? Speaking of GM, I made a prediction that's coming true, but not the way I thought it was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the strike that they having has is pretty much set back the production of the C8.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I said that the C8 was gonna be producing limited numbers.
Well, it would seem to me that they produced all of them because they made deliveries to all the dealerships. So we know that's been done. And from what I understand, most of the orders have already been the orders that were put in there were already been fulfilled. So whoever was waiting for their C8 should have already have gotten it. At least at this point, they should have already gotten it.
I
I don't think
so.
they plan on producing a whole lot of them.
From what I've seen, that don't seem to be the case.
I thought they wasn't I think even though they're actually producing them, I think some of the deliveries don't start until maybe November, December. Then they got another wave in January. So it's there's a couple of waves of the initial orders that they have to fulfill. So it's not going to be done all at once. So if there's an issue with production now because of a strike, then probably maybe the people in the first wave will be able to get theirs, but the people in the second wave, they may be left twiddling their thumbs, or perhaps even pulling their reserves and maybe going somewhere else, like maybe GT 500 or Super for some of them.
Well, the videos the video content creators I've been following on YouTube, the ones who have made their orders and traded their C7s in, seem to have already gotten them. But they haven't. I mean, they haven't been delivered. But from what it looks like to me is that the orders have already been put in, and it's just a matter of building it. From my understanding, it takes 30 days to build one. So it makes a lot of sense that those got the first wave of people already got their vehicles. They had C7, so they already traded them in, so they really didn't lose much coming out of their pocket.
Yo, with what's going on with automation and whatnot, I don't think they're gonna figure this out because they're trying to lock them into a contract for the next 4 years, and yeah, they might not even be planning on having as much human hands as part of the production line in the next 4 years.
Maybe Waka Flocka was right. No hands.
No hands. they out of there. I drive past General Motors every day coming home from work, and I see them out there picketing, and I'm like, man, y'all might not even. They might not even need y'all.
Hmm. Let me get to this next article. This one is from CNBC.com. Chevrolet's new mid-engine Corvette is a shot across the bow at European sports car makers. The Chevrolet Corvette's new mid-engine layout is a radical departure from decades of tradition, but parent General Motors may attract a much-needed new audience to the venerable working man sports car, says industry observers, and it could spur a great deal of competition. The high-performance car is keeping one element of its working-class identity, a starting price of just shy of $60,000 that has shocked many people in the automotive world. The car has always delivered performance that could match high-end exotics made by the likes of Italian manufacturers, Ferrari and Lamborghini, but at a fraction of their price. But over time, the Corvette developed a rather unique identity, built in and around it being a rare American sports car in the sea of mostly European rivals. In addition, it stuck with the front engine design longer than many other makers. For decades, the Corvette's engine has sat in the front of the driver, like most car engines. The car stuck with the common front engine layout, even as many makers of sports cars changed their own designs to favor mid-engine layout, where the car's power sits just behind the driver. Since the engine is one of the heaviest parts of the vehicle, placing it in the center of the car balances the weight evenly, improving performance. Even the Corvette's first chief engineer, Zora Arkus Duntov, pushed unsuccessfully for years for a mid-engine Corvette. Now that it has a mid-engine design, it is stepping even further into territory dominated by higher-end manufacturers. It is always fascinating to watch the supercar segment, said Cox Automotive executive publisher Carl Brauer. This is a segment that does not stop. It is never standing still. Just about every few months, it seems another supercar is coming to market, he added, and it is very difficult for any one car to stay in the spotlight for too long. That means the hype over the Corvette could fade quickly. But it also means that the Corvette's astonishingly low starting price, it brought gas from the audience at the car's unveiling, could push other makers to innovate in lower prices. I think GM has stepped into the competitive segment with a very capable entry, and it will be fascinating to watch how effectively they compete at their price point with these much higher priced vehicles, Barbara said. So I think that what's happening here is that GM does have a point that they could force the European exotics to actually come down on purpose just to keep pace, but then you ruin the brand cachet of your with your prices being that low, because now you can't sell a Ferrari for $500,000 when if you're trying to compete with a $60,000 Corvette. It just doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense.
I don't think that this will really affect Ferrari and Lamborghini and things like that, but like some of the other car manufacturers may have to rethink their marketing strategy and also perhaps even their pricing strategy, such as like when you look at a GTR, Nissan GTR, Toyota Supra, Ford Mustang, cars like that. The Ferrari is a significantly more attractive vehicle. The build quality, I mean, it's just a superior vehicle in every regard. And even though the Corvette may begin to approach in their performance because it's mid-engine layout, and maybe even on the higher echelon models such as the Zora or maybe even the Z06, that it goes beyond that. For somebody who's looking to buy a Ferrari, they want a Ferrari. They don't want a Corvette just because it's a better value. Doesn't matter to them.
Nah, but you know what, Triz? what they did with the design was they went into that space with them, man. And that Ferrari and they always had that super exotic look. Corvette kind of tippy toeing in there, man.
Well, it's kind of hard not to look exotic with a mid-engine layout. I mean, that's part of the act. Just the proportions of the vehicle, the slope of the roof line, just having the engine back there is going to make a car adopt those particular proportions and contour lines just automatically.
No, I understand, but it's not only Ferrari. I mean, you got McLaren in there too.
Yeah, but well, I mean, again, well, McLaren may be more affected, but Ferrari has an established brand cachet that people want that for. Like, if I had a choice and I had the money, I'm getting Ferrari all day. I don't care how much of a better value a Corvette is. That's just
But you
me.
know what? But remember the GTR came out. It was 60,000 when it first came out.
Then it gradually rose. I remember it jumped to 85,000 at one point. Now I don't know how much it costs now, but it did rise in price. But that's because it has such stellar performance, and for the price, it was still a value. But now you have a mid-engine player. Even if the performance of the C8 doesn't really exceed that of a GTR, say for instance, right? Because it's that mid-engine layout, man. It's just something about that mid-engine layout when you pull up in that car like that, thing. It's a showstopper.
Well, I think
when it hit the streets, when that car hit the streets, the demand is gonna go up again.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I think if the mid-engine layout has a different type of appeal to it. You talk about the GTR, you're talking about the Nismo GTR.
Yeah, that's like 200 some thousand.
Which GTR you?
Well, I'm saying just the GTR when it came out, it was at 60.
Oh, okay. Oh, not the Nismo version, but just the GTR itself.
Yeah, but it wasn't the Nismo version when it came out. It was
right.
And regular.
Right. But I think people, I don't. There's not too many buyers, right, that are kind of choosing between like those two types of cars. Okay, a mid-engine layout is fundamentally like from just evaluating cars. It's fundamentally different from a front-engine twin turbo car, right? It's the buyer is kind of looking at two completely different driving experiences, and no matter how much modification you do to one or to both, they'll never actually mirror each other in the way the performance is going to be experienced on the track, or on the streets or on the track. So people who are aiming for that C8, they're aiming for that C8 because they understand that like that mid-engine configuration gives the best balance, gives the best weight optimization. You're going to get a whole completely different performance profile from something that's front engine but's got a shit ton of power.
Complex.
Yo.
On the used car market, at some point, the Corvette or C8 will inevitably make it to the used car market.
Mm-hmm.
Might we see, perhaps in Jacksonville or Tampa, Florida, might we see a Corvette C8 on 32-inch rims?
Nah.
Oh,
bro.
Why did you have to put that thought in my head?
Nah, bro.
That image, man. Oh, I can't get it out now.
No, I don't think you'll see a Corvette
there. Then yeah.
I think you'll probably see a Liberty Walk before you see a 32-inch wheel on there. So
no, you'll definitely see a Liberty Walk kit, but somebody's gonna be bold and stupid enough to do it. I think it's gonna happen. Thanks, Triz.
You're welcome.
Hey, but I think that C7 Z06 gonna end up being a bargain.
Oh yeah, you already seen the prices come down now.
They're coming down.
Yeah, they not even accepting trade-ins no more at the dealerships over here. They got so many on the lot.
They were
Wait.
never moving in the first place. That's one thing. They were never moving in the first place. I think whoever bought a C7 had already bought it, and whatever they produced after that, man, just sat there.
Yep.
You know what I think the problem with the C7 was the C7 Z06. Here's my issue. Previously, I want to say the C6 Z06, or maybe it was a C5. They had a 7-liter V8 as opposed to the conventional 6-liter at the time, or maybe it was a 5.7 liter at the time, and they had a 7-liter V8. So it was distinct. It was still naturally aspirated. But then when we went to the C7 Z06, it was basically essentially perceived to be as a detuned ZR1. So
Yeah,
like the character wasn't that much different because it wasn't naturally aspirated as the Z06 were before. And so I think that's where they kind of dropped the ball. I would rather see a Z06 naturally aspirated, perhaps even raise the red line to maybe say, for instance, a 8,600 RPM Z06, 9,000 would be great, but I don't know if that's really practical. But a high revving, naturally aspirated V8 as the Z06, and save the supercharger, whatever forced induction you use, maybe a turbocharge for the Zora or whatever you want to call the upper echelon model.
well, the 7-liter motors, the pistons were bored so wide that they were close to the coolant passages. They had heating issues with that, just because the pistons were bored over so big. But for them to they have to completely make a whole new engine for you to get that RPM you want. The rod stroke ratio will have to be detuned, and then you'll be pushing the limitations of a push rod engine.
Hey, Mike. That what you're sharing there on the screen. I think that's what I was referencing maybe a week or two ago on one of these chats. That partnership between Porsche and Rimac.
Yep.
That's it.
All right, let me get to this next article then. This one is from Motor1.com. Porsche promises world-beaten hypercar with help from Rimac. Porsche and Rimac have a budding partnership. Shortly after the Taycan debut, Porsche announced it had upped its interest in Rimac from 10% to 15.5%.
Oh, really?
Initially, it was relatively unclear what this revised partnership might yield, but now we know it could spawn a world-beating electrified or even fully electric hypercar. Dr. Stefan Weckbar, Porsche's head of EV projects, sat down with the Australian website Motoring for a roundtable interview at the Frankfurt Motor Show. There, he talked about battery tech, promising Porsche's improved relationship with Rimac in an upcoming electric hypercar. Our target is always, no matter what car we're doing, to have the sportiest car in the segment, Weckbach says. I'm pretty sure solid state batteries are going to be the next step. I think there's going to be a technology step in lithium ion batteries within the next few years. So there's different ideas and discussions going, and there will definitely be a next Porsche hypercar in the market, but I cannot tell you today when it will be and what the technology of it would be. If it's an all electric, it might be an approach, but might be a Porsche motor as well. Whatever powers this hypercar, Weckbar makes it clear that Porsche is intended in being at the top. That means we expect the vehicle to have well over 1,000 horsepower, 745 kilowatts in speed that rivals alternatives like the Mercedes-AMG 1 and the Aston Martin Valkyrie, among others. If our rendering is any indication for Porsche Rimac hypercar, could borrow cues from both brands, but expect more elements from the 917 living legend concept, which, like all Porsche, looks to the past to help inspire its future. This does look pretty dope. It's very non 911 ish. See, the thing about Porsche is that they're so wedded to the traditional 911 front end design or total design that it's hard for them to even deviate from that and be taken seriously.
So you think that's where Rimac comes in?
Yep.
Okay.
Rimac is the truck company I hear y'all referencing to all the time, right?
No, that's Rivian.
That's Rivian. Rimac
Okay.
Rimac makes electric like sports cars.
Oh, okay.
And so they Porsche bought a 10% stake in them late 2017, I think it was. And then with the announcement of this, they also announced that they bought another 5.5%.
Okay.
Basically, Rimac made that car that was too much for that. Was it Top Gear? It was too much car for that guy.
It was too much. Yeah.
Yeah, it drove off the side of a cliff.
Yep.
And they took the video off of YouTube. Yep.
Dude,
I watched that live.
Ty City talking about where you been? Rimac made a sports car. I mean, it had an insane amount of torque. It not only horsepower, but it had an insane amount of torque. And so this guy was test driving it from Top Gear. It was just way too much car for him.
He crashed that motherfucker.
Damn. I gotta go check the archive.
I think they took the video off of YouTube. I remember watching it live, and then it disappeared. But
oh yeah.
Yeah. What happened was when the car went off the cliff, man, it burned.
Yeah, no, the car got destroyed damn near.
Yeah, it burned itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he destroyed the car, dude.
Hey Mike, did you see that that I think it's called a Honkai S9 that they unveiled at Frankfurt?
No, I didn't see that.
Hey, can you search that? It's a HONGQI S9.
All right, give me a few seconds.
Yeah, man. That like how you gonna have someone from like a top auto rag like Top Gear.
I'm gonna have to go into the archives and find that, man.
Yeah, he fucking wrecked one of their cars, man. And this car, hey Mike, they're from Eastern Europe. Where are they from exactly?
I thought they were from the Ukraine, but I could be wrong.
It's somewhere around there, like Ukraine, Estonia, somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Rimac's the Eastern European company.
Yeah, I think it's a whole lot of like companies popping up now around this electric car stuff.
Dude, we keep talking about this shit ad infinitum, bro. It's like this fourth industrial shit. It's all about the startups.
Dog, this Honkai S9 car that they unveiled at Frankfurt, bro. The Chinese throwing their hat in the ring, bro. They not playing.
Wait. In terms of EVs?
Yes, it's a hybrid.
No. The Chinese run shit. Look, what you think a large part of this trade war and tariff shit is about? The United States does not want the high-tech Chinese shit in the United States. They don't want it here. The Chinese have a slew of electric cars. I'm talking supreme high-end shit. Companies like Biden and NIO and Lucid.
That car, that S9 car looked like it was from another planet or something, man.
Bro, go check out the NIO EP9, and it like demolishing the Nürburgring.
The NIO EP9.
Yeah, NIO. They also have a team. I think they run under Tech Cheetah, I think it is, in Formula E.
All right, let me get to this next article. This one is from Quartz. Electric cars are finally taking a tiny bite out of combustion engine sales. California car buyers are shifting their loyalties from their internal combustion engine to electric batteries, but even so slowly, ever so slowly. Despite car sales declining in the Golden State since 2016, the number of electric and hybrid cars sold continues to rise. In the first half of 2019, sales hit 51,750 and 48,861, respectively. That's a 40% increase for both over last year. This is the chart between quarter one and quarter two of EV sales in 2019.
Look at that.
Yeah, hybrid sales are picking up
Mm-hmm.
over just gas. So
Look at what's happening to all the other platforms, though.
yeah.
Going in the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm. Yet overall, the vast majority of car sales in California, one of the U.S.'s most environmentally conscious states, remain gasoline powered. Pure electric cars account for just 5.5% of California's vehicle sales, or 13% when including all types of electrification, compared to 81% of petrol vehicle cars. But California is the U.S. leader in electric vehicles. It plans to have 5 million zero-emission vehicles on the road by 2030 and accounted for about half of the 105,472 electric cars sold in the U.S. in the first half of the year. Hey, Ty City, you have to mute yourself, bro.
Man, you in the middle of a hurricane or something?
No.
Think he's trying to zip up his luggage for that 240 trip.
No.
That's worrisome for automakers banking on explosive EV growth to justify their billions of dollars in new investment. Growth in EV sales have been anemic in most states, just under 1% of U.S. new car sales on average, and modest but steady only in those with generous incentives and eager customers such as New York and California. It's not yet enthusiastic. It's not yet the enthusiastic embrace that car makers need to turn money-losing EVs into profitable endeavors as they retool their factories for the future. Only Norway, which has seen EVs account for 50% to 70% of new car registrations since 2018, has seen EVs dominate national car sales. But again, that was the result of a generous tax incentive and perks packages. The brightest spot by far for EV sales is Tesla's Model 3, the company's new mass market vehicle, which starts at $38,990, but has proven to be a bestseller, outpacing standard sedans in its class, from the likes of BMW or Mercedes, and rocketing beyond the rest of the field. Whether automakers can conjure the same magic as Tesla CEO Elon Musk for their own models remains to be seen. So, this is a chart right here of the Bolt, the Nissan Leaf, and the Tesla Model 3. And what we see here is that the Bolt stagnated between 2016 and 2018. It went up in 2017 and then it just flattened out, plateaued. The Nissan Leaf, although the oldest, has had zero growth since 2014.
Well, the Tesla is viewed as somewhat of a luxury car manufacturer. Mm-hmm. And you look at the Nissan Leaf and the Chevrolet Bolt, they do not say luxury at all. And then you have Chevrolet attempting to transfer the design language even to its electric vehicles. Like, honestly, Chevrolet design language, I understand the concept of design language, but I mean, just give it up. Like, it's like it gets to the point where you're just making ugly cars. Like, the Chevrolet Bolt, it's just like, they're trying to put this whole bow tie freaking front end on all their vehicles, and The Tesla just plain looks better. Bottom line, inside and out.
No, I don't think. See, it's not. Look, you gotta give. You have to give cars time to have some form of maturation process. So that means they have to go from like version 1 to version 2, and halfway through version 2 you hit your stride, and then version 3 is really where you want it to get to. Okay, it's like, look, Tesla did it. They did it with the Model. They did it with the Model S, Model X, and then Model 3. They got it right. Okay. Nissan, they have 2 versions of the Leaf, but it's really the second version is what makes them a player. The first one was good, but it had battery issues. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I'm hearing a lot of feedback in the background.
Oh, I think that's Triz. Okay. So Chevy put out one car, and they didn't really expound upon it, right? They really didn't say, okay, look, there's a place we're going with this. We're going to start with this, though. This isn't the final showing. This is the start of where we're trying to go with our electrified platform. That's not what they did. Was they just made it? They just made a car, and that was it.
This is not the starting point, though, Complex, because they came out with the Volt before this. They had the Volt first,
yeah.
Then they had the Bolt. So this is the second generation of electrification from Chevrolet. Now Tesla came out of nowhere. No, Tesla literally came out of nowhere.
Tesla, no. Tesla didn't come out of nowhere.
Yeah, but I'm talking about as far as the car scene. They just came on the car scene out of nowhere.
No. Tesla first, what they were doing was they were making electrified versions of the Lotus Exige. And then Elon bought the company. That's how they started.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. From an automotive standpoint, they came out of nowhere. Now, from a business standpoint, yeah, they have a little bit of history.
Yeah.
But think about from an automotive standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The automotive industry, is one of the most difficult industries in the world.
Yeah, but
for a manufacturer to come onto the scene and actually be a major player, this is unprecedented. Just like the time frame that Tesla was able to do this. For them to have any type of success, with the Model 3 is amazing. And
no. It's expected. It's expected. Here's the thing. I would posit to say, and I'm not disagreeing with you, because I would actually posit to say, if they didn't have so much legislative pushback from individual states, I think Michigan was one of them, Texas was one of them. I'm trying to think of basically all the states where Teslas aren't sold, right? Because what Tesla decided not to do was to basically get ass raped from a legislative standpoint by the states at large. Tesla's like, look, okay, we're a tech company first, car company second. The way this is ultimately going to work for us is that we have to sell direct. We can't do a dealership model. We don't have the ability to provide the type of parts support and
logistics,
all that shit. We don't have the ability to do it. We have to do it our way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's like you get what you get because the model works with how they have to make the cars. But I'm saying they're the only EV player in the game. So of course they're going to be a major player. They're the only one. Everyone else is just basically saying, "Oh, we need to make our version of an electric car." Ford is the only electric company that I've seen. The only American car company that I've seen that has made a significant commitment to EVs. When they said we're going to get rid of all the goddamn sedan production for the most part, and we're going to create a whole entire new division of Ford called autonomous vehicles. Okay, they are the only ones who have literally stepped out to do some shit. They're the only ones.
But you know what? With this, with all the new electric stuff, we have to get out of our head how cars are supposed to look because though the cars don't have grills or open front because there's no radiator.
Do
You
you
know what
see
I'm saying?
that Tesla right there?
The the low hood lines and everything, like the way cars look, are about to change.
Okay, do you see that Tesla Model S right there on the track?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you see how the right front is fucking cambered in under the goddamn fender?
yeah.
Okay, that looks like a car to me on track doing some damage. It doesn't really matter if it's gas or electric. Look at that shit.
Nah, it's tough. It gotta stand. So
Yeah, it's not no not the stance that you like.
Hey, I was gonna
But
say let's be careful with that.
nah, it ain't fitted. It ain't fitted how it's supposed to be. But it's all right.
it doesn't have a Liberty Walk fender flare. So I mean, there's some flare there, but nothing like how you like it.
Nah, I would never.
All right, this last one is from Road and Track. Stripped out Tesla Model S beats Porsche Taycan by 20 seconds at Nürburgring.
And this one I'm bringing the smoke.
Bringing the smoke to who?
That car is set up, man.
What do you mean?
Car is set up.
Here
Dude,
we
it
go.
doesn't fucking matter. It ran
Hold
the
up.
Nürburgring in 7 minutes.
Complex.
Kidding me?
Complex.
Why
Complex.
I'm
Let me
bringing
dust them.
the smoke. That's why
Complex.
I'm
Let me
bringing the
dust them.
smoke.
Oh my God.
That is
Complex.
why
Let me
I'm
dust
bringing
them.
the
Let me
smoke.
dust them.
They
Go ahead,
are
Ty City.
comparing a car that is going into production to a straight out, stripped down race. Come on, fam.
No, let me finish reading the article first. It appears Tesla's visit to the Nürburgring is bearing some fruit. Today, eyewitnesses have timed a heavily modified Model S lapping from the famous German circuit at a blistering 7 minutes and 23 seconds, nearly 20 seconds faster than 7-minute 42-second lap time set by the Porsche Taycan. But it took a lot of changes to the car to get there. According to the local Nürburgring experts, the two there's a lot of feedback coming from you, Tyson. The two Model S prototypes lapping the Nürburgring are nothing like the EVs you can buy from Tesla today. Our inside sources describe the cars as being stripped to their gunwales. The interior is fully gutted of nothing apart from the necessary seats, harnesses, and driver controls, hence the dark tinted windows, it seems. And we're nearly certain these prototypes are sporting a brand new 3-motor ultra high performance drivetrain, one motor for each rear wheel and one power in the front axle. Tesla CEO Elon Musk says the ultra high performance drivetrain, nicknamed Plaid, the logical conclusion to the automaker's many Spaceballs references, will be available on production Model S, X, and Roadster sometime next year. The cars are also running on huge, wide aftermarket wheels, wearing unusual tires, Goodyear Eagle F1 Supersport RS, a brand new track-oriented but still street legal tire just introduced this year. Currently, those tires are not available on any Tesla model, and the Nürburgring prototypes wear add-on fender flares to cover the extra wide wheel and tire setup. Our witnesses also noted that the Teslas have huge carbon ceramic brakes, possibly Brembo SGLs, the type used on top spec performance cars from Lamborghini, Mercedes, and more. And as we mentioned previously, the Teslas seen at the ring also feature aggressive aerodynamic mods, including a substantial rear gunway flap. While it's unclear who was driving during the 7-minute and 23-second lap time by our witnesses, 3 professional racing drivers and ring experts have been piloting the Tesla prototypes. Thomas Much, who drives a Ford GT and FIA GT and GT3, Andreas Simonson, who competes in the Nürburgring VLN series driving for Porsche team Huber, and driven for the Scuderia Cameron Glickenhaus, and Carl Rickwitz, a GT3 racer. Clearly, the weight loss, ultra sticky tires and aero mods, and the massive power of the three-motor drivetrain have added up. Our witnesses, armed with a stopwatch and a clear view of the track, hand time the Tesla prototype lapping the track in 7 minutes 23 seconds. And note, this unofficial time was set during the industry pool lapping sessions, where dozens of manufacturers prototype vehicles ranging from diesel crossovers to fire-breathing supercars all share the track at the same time. I'm not going to read this whole thing because the most important aspect of this is that the
most
Tesla
important aspect of this is Thai City is out of his freaking mind.
Oh my God. Here we go, man.
Of course it has to be tracked out. It's on the goddamn Nürburgring.
But what was the Porsche? A production model that they.
So
this
it was
is
a pre-production
model too.
No, actually the Taycan was a pre-production model.
Yeah.
So we can't really hold. Wait till they actually on the market and to see what the Taycan does, and it may not even be as impressive as. Here's the problem. This is a Tesla. This is basically a sedan. It doesn't have a performance pedigree that Porsche has. The fact that Tesla is able to have a vehicle that can actually and when you look at this vehicle, we can actually see this vehicle coming into production as is. It's not like it's some type of far-fetched, super modified, looking like a prototype car.
From what I read, it only had a driver's seat.
Okay, so what? So how much?
What does it matter, dude? The Neo EP9, it's an electric supercar, right? Set a lap record and ran the shit in 6 minutes and 43 seconds.
What I'm saying
that Tesla, which is just a production four-door sedan type of car. Okay, so yeah, they tracked it out, but it ran a 723. That's less than a minute than the EP9.
Listen, I'm not mad at that. I'm only mad at the fact that they making it seem like.
Yeah. I think I might be Triz.
Okay. What I'm saying is, it's like they trying to take thunder from Porsche, but it's
as
like
they should.
Go ahead, Thai City.
It's a false equivalent.
Not necessarily. Elon Musk was quoted, I think a couple weeks ago when the Porsche news came out, that he would be responding to it. And he was impressed with the Porsche, but he also had something up his sleeve. So this sounds like they had already been working on this for quite some time. They didn't whip this up in 14 days. That's just not how it works. That's something that they have been sitting on.
I like where this is going.
I mean, look. You know, when one, how is this any different from any other automotive, a rivalry from an automotive industry perspective? How's this any different? I see
the marketing behind it.
Who bet on electric first, Porsche or Tesla?
Mm-hmm.
So who's invading whose background by throwing the Taycan out there? Porsche is invading Tesla's background. You goddamn right, man. Look, if I given what I do, throw some shit out there and tell me, and then say to the people that it's your 100cc car is better than my shit. You don't think I'm not gonna throw something out there to respond to that shit?
No, I understand that, but it's like, all right. I understand the marketing behind it. They got an over the top car, and to go after the Taycan.
That's a production car. I just said, dude, the Neo EP9 ran the Nürburgring in 6 minutes and 45 seconds. This car ran it less than a minute behind a supercar. That's a production car.
Actually, that's an ultra car.
Okay, that's a production car though, right there.
Yeah, like, and even though it's heavily modified, the modifications on it are not so far fetched that we can see those modifications make production.
If you're gonna go for a balls out run on the Nürburgring, you gotta mod that shit. You'd be stupid to try to run the stuff at the capabilities that the battery pack and the drivetrain could do it, but you don't fortify it by putting some fatter tires on there, some stickier tires, you know, some reinforcement inside by dumping some weight outside. I mean, come on.
But the thing is complex. I could easily see some of these modifications making production, like the carbon ceramic brakes, most definitely. The actual tire, I think it was a Michelin Pilot is the kind of tires that those.
No, the Goodyear F1 Eagles.
Goodyear F1 vehicles. Those actually come stock on some production vehicles.
Well, I think they said this is a street legal race type of tire. It's street legal though.
It's the one that comes on the ZL1 Camaro.
Okay, but it's street legal. It ran that shit, dude, on street legal tires.
I'm not mad. I understand that, but they're not bringing the car to the market with no door panels.
No, I think the difference here, Ty City, is that this is a prototype, right? So this is what they're testing. It sounds to me, based on the article, that there's some new ultra new motors.
It's the drivetrain, yeah.
Yeah, that they're testing it for. So you don't necessarily need the seats for that purpose, but the Porsche actually weighs more than the Tesla. So in this regard, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but it's very one's red apple and one's a green apple, and I think
get it. They just had to put Porsche. They just had to put Porsche in it. They had to.
Oh, you goddamn right.
So it was somebody else. Did the hand timing of it. So it wasn't like they did it. They didn't even talk about it for the most part. Somebody else had to talk
about it. I like where it's going. I'm just saying I understand the marketing behind it.
I mean, it's all look. All these things are meant to ultimately influence any potential buyers. But I'm looking at it as even somebody who, I mean, shit, dude. Like when I'm doing the karting stuff, there's a couple other guys that are out there who do something similar in terms of setting up carts and selling them and all that type of stuff. So at the end of the day, if your shit is what's winning out on the track, then everybody else who's around there, guess who they're going to come and talk to? The dude who's putting the carts out there. You know what I'm saying?
How much would you pay for that car, Complex?
This one?
Yeah.
How much would I pay for it?
Yeah. What would you see of that type of version coming onto the market costing?
Oh, I mean, it's easily going to be over $100,000. Just because it seems to have some sort of exotic powertrain where you have one central motor between, the two front wheels running a gear reducer, and then you have basically one motor for each wheel assigned for the rear wheels. So that's a completely different type of exotic setup. You're gonna kind of run sort of like a limited slip up front. And then in the rear, you've got motors that are controlled individually per wheel. So think about the type of performance gains you can get from that.
I'm surprised they didn't go with carbon fiber wheels, man, rather than the
and they could have.
I don't know about the torque though. See, that's the thing about this car is putting out a massive amount of torque. And then the practicality of carbon fiber wheels, because you hit a pothole, that's it. So they're probably thinking about from a production standpoint, how practical it is.
Yeah, but there's no potholes on the ring.
Not only that, but dude, I've seen plenty of P100 Model S's with carbon fiber wheels out here. I mean, you know, look, if you want some carbon fiber wheels, you're gonna buy some goddamn carbon fiber wheels, and they have some for the Tesla. We're just surprised that they didn't run it on this run here.
No,
Hey,
I'm saying just in reference to the testing, like if they were trying to go for max weight reduction and all that stuff, I'm surprised they didn't do that.
They didn't do that, right?
Yeah, because I know they make titanium wheels now. There's a few manufacturers that make titanium wheels in the United States now, so it's just a matter of time before you start seeing full-fledged carbon fiber.
Yeah.
You know what I think, and I may be wrong. I think that they really testing that drivetrain, but it's for a different car.
That's very possible.
That's the Roadster. The Roadster is coming out next year.
The Roadster, yeah.
That's what it's about.
I mean, they're not going to put the Roadster out there like that.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think that version may come out like that, but I think that drivetrain is really meant for another car.
They could test it in multiple cars because they got multiple new cars coming out over the next 2 years. So,
and that's the other thing.
What I'm saying. They might not want nobody to see the body style.
We've already seen the body style. They've already shown the Roadster. The thing about
it's on their page.
Yeah, what you don't want to do is you don't want to put the Roadster out there as the production vehicle doing this type of shit. Like how Porsche did with the Taycan. Okay, mm-hmm. Like you're gonna basically have a 2020 Roadster in the form of a Model S. Do the mule work. Mm-hmm. That's basically what Tesla's doing. I applaud them for that. That's very smart. Very smart thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, imagine Triple X, jumping out of a Model S like that.
Peace to the panel. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on, man?
You got it. No, quality discussion we got going here. Yeah, man.
Ty City brought the smoke tonight.
Oh, he did.
All smoke, man.
Definitely. Ty City. And yeah, I like what I see so far, man. And I agree with what I just heard. I think, they're pretty much using the S as a mule for testing for the Roadster that's set to debut. Isn't it next year or year after next?
20. I think it's the year after next. Hey, Mike.
No, it's 2020.
2020. My bad. Hey, Mike, can I share my screen while we're chopping up? I wanted to show Ty the run that Neo did on the Nürburgring.
Go right ahead.
Okay.
Ty City didn't even bring any smoke. He burning incense over there.
Nah, man. I knew y'all was gonna come. I knew y'all was gonna come in here with this Tesla talk, boosting them to the moon, like they didn't bring a whole stripped out shell with a over the moon drivetrain.
Oh my God, dude! They didn't bring They didn't bring a production model off the damn lot either.
They couldn't. They wouldn't have been able. They wouldn't have been able to bring the production vehicle over if they're using these electric motors.
Y'all couldn't wait for them. Y'all couldn't wait for them to take a swing.
Does everybody see this? Does everybody see this?
Hey, Complex, make sure you're careful with this because if we'll get flagged for this like we did last week.
Okay. Oh shit. And then you know what? Let me take it off then. I don't even want to chance it. I'll just post the link in the chat. I'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah, you can just throw the link, man. I don't want you guys to get flagged or nothing.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah, I already disputed it already.
Okay.
And it came from one of our car talks too. So.
Oh man, of all things, okay.
It was actually the C8 Corvette that got flagged. So
what?
It was on the track. Yeah, it belonged to somebody in the media, so they flagged it. So.
Wow.
Hey, that's that AI stuff.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. I mean, it's not like the CA. I mean, we gave the CA a lot of praise. I mean, and plus the channel's not monetized, so it's not like we're making money off of it. So
exactly.
Yeah, but any sort of critique or praise over the C8, man, people get real antsy about it.
But Mike, I'm telling you that Hong Kai S9 car, Man, they talking 0 to 100 kilometers in 1.9 seconds.
That's what the Tesla does.
Yeah, the Tesla Roadster did that.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Lotus Evija did the same thing.
Same thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Electric, man, electric.
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard about the Evija is that so much power, man, it just sucks your brain right into the headrest.
Yeah. I can totally believe that.
I just can't imagine just like people just having these things on the street, man. That'd be crazy. Stoplight to stoplight racing. Wow, man.
Well, I mean, we'll see what law enforcement says about all that. I mean, because a car that does 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, there's no police vehicle or interceptor right now that could actually keep up with that. That's like a getaway driver's,
Dream ride, pretty much.
Yeah, man. You pull up to a bank, man, and do your thing, and then you hop out, and it's like he was here 1.9 seconds ago. Yeah. Day late, $2 short, man.
The thing about that is like that vehicle is going to be instantly recognizable anywhere you go. So like you're not going to get far unless you significantly modify the vehicle so that way it's not so conspicuous.
Yeah. I mean, somebody like Ford could actually capitalize off of this, man. They can brand it as a SHO. And with the heart,
and it would actually
shots fired.
It would be a real thing.
Hey, but look, check this out. Where do you think this thing going with the GM strike?
Dude, them people ain't coming back.
Well, see, and that's the mentality that I have. There's no way I'm signing on 4 more years. I think that they could actually halt the production right now and just bring in automation if they wanted to.
Look, you know what GM did to show how much they don't care about these people at this point?
They cut the head off.
There you go.
And they only get paid $200 a week to strike.
Say that again, Ty City. You broke up, man.
They only get paid $200 a week to strike.
And they cut their insurance off.
Yeah, they cut the insurance. Yeah.
GM is not anybody's 4-year plan involving that much human interacting in their manufacturing. I don't think so.
There you go. There you go, right there.
I feel bad for these people because I don't think they understand, man. They just out there. This ain't 20, 30 years ago.
Ty,
what do you want them to do? Throw a brick through a window or something like that?
Mike's on fire tonight, man.
You know what? This old man said that they went on strike in the early 90s, late 80s. Yeah. And the people on the assembly line was putting marbles inside the frame rails of the cars.
What?
And when people was buying them, they would get these weird noises that nobody could diagnose.
Wow.
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 Yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Even if they do go back, do you want to buy those cars that those mad people made?
Dude, look, man, this is why, Mike and I, we always say this shit, man. A lot of the stuff we talk about, people think we're crazy. But then it's like, they don't make correlations between like what just came across and what's on CNN right now and how it's related to this quote unquote crazy shit we talk about.
No, their jobs
are directly impacted by everything that we've been talking about tonight. Electrification of vehicles.
And automation of manufacturing.
But dude, the electrification of vehicles fundamentally changes how vehicles are made. Okay? It makes it easier for the vehicles to be produced by basically an automated process.
Yeah.
And it's way less parts.
Way less parts, way less rotating parts, the whole nine. My bad, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to point out that Mini is actually a good. What BMW did with Mini over in the UK, only 5% of the production of the vehicle is actually human interface. So the only thing that the humans do is they put the plaques on the car.
That's it.
That's it. All the rest of it, 99% of it is all done by robots from start to finish, even the paint.
Yo, man, I was really like feeling bad for them. I'm like, wow, they really think that they're gonna negotiate this. I don't think it's gonna come, man.
Ty, what is there possibly to negotiate?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Once you cut employees' health care, like that is a solid decision.
Yeah. Yeah, you've already took your stand at that point. I agree with Complex. What exactly is it to negotiate?
You know, and it's funny that you say that, Ty, because Bernie Sanders jumped out ahead of that and was like, well, you know, with my universal health care plan, those people would be covered. That's my Bernie Sanders impersonation.
Throw your hands up when you talk.
I literally did it. I whacked my finger when I said it.
You boys crazy.
Look, and this is what I'm talking. Only pause the video. This whole entire factory is no humans.
Wow.
Even the drivetrain is built.
Mini is a huge cash grab for BMW. It was, man.
Yeah, because they sell a $10,000 car for fucking $40,000. You can't do that.
Look, if you're gonna do that, man, if you got the money, you snatch up a company like that, and because of its international appeal and reach, you use that company to basically fine-tune these types of production processes for your brands across the board.
Yeah, that's testing. Absolutely.
That's you damn right. It's testing in real time. This is amazing right here.
Phenomenal.
Yo,
I didn't know this.
I'm telling you,
there's not a single person you haven't seen this. Oh, there you go. Now you see some people.
Right.
GM could go to the same people that set this.
That's only for the convertible. That's only for the convertible, not for the regular car. So
okay.
You have to manually put the rag top and stuff like that, the mechanisms in there. But for all intents and purposes, the rest of the vehicle is just inspected by humans at the end.
GM probably in talks with the same engineers that set this factory up.
They already got the shit in place.
I looked into this, and the arms. This was 8 years ago. This is an 8-year-old vehicle. Video from 2009. The arms now, the robotic cobot arms only cost $20,000 a piece. They used to cost $500,000.
Dude, there's a dude that I follow his channel on YouTube. He makes these things. He has all types of 3D printable designs on them. You print the parts out, and yeah.
GM was making $50 million a day last year.
How much?
50.
We don't need these employees.
50 million. That is correct. A day.
Yeah, man. It's just
that's what they. Man. But that's what they complaining about, is that they make so much profit last year that they want a bigger cut.
Well, they want a bigger cut, but
it's not coming, fam.
Well, no. The thing about it is this, dude. Like, you gotta. I mean, you and I, we're both business owners here. So, you know that when you look into the future and you say, well, I'm going to be doing things this way. What does that equate to? There's a bunch of people you're not going to need anymore.
And Mike showing me that video. General Motors seen that video.
If that's a mini factory in the UK, what the fuck do you think GM is going to have here in the States? A huge plant with nothing but that stuff.
They make like 80% profit off of every mini sold. I have no idea why any mini buyer would spend 40 grand on a $10,000 car. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
You know what else, Mike? The resale value on those minis is through the roof too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're so in demand. They really lose their value at all. Even though the quality on it is terrible.
Yeah. I agree. For me, no matter how hot up it is, it's just a $20,000 car for me. I never pay more than that.
But yeah, that it's just people having debates on whether they should do it or not, what's going on, and what do they deserve to get. And I'm just sitting here like, what are you? Wake up, like
Dude.
It ain't coming, dog.
Nah, real shit, dude. I mean, like I say, man, people think a lot of the content we're doing is, some old out there, that shit ain't gonna happen type shit. But, it's like you're seeing it in real time, dude.
Yo, real
the
talk,
thing is,
man.
those cobalt arms can actually be programmed very easily. I forget the name of the application that is used, but you can connect that thing to a Raspberry Pi and it will do the same job over and over and over again, without fail. So a Raspberry Pi is like $50. That arm is like, it's supposed to be 20 grand, and when ordering more than one. I don't know, from GM looking at this, I'm saying,
Nah, I mean 20 grand. How many people you replacing? I mean, one person's salary is probably 3 of those.
Right.
And you're taking out maybe 200 at each factory.
Well, you got to think about the liability you eliminate by removing the human factor, because now you don't have to worry about a potential workman's comp. You don't realize a lot of these companies have active workman's comp claims. And like, I worked at a facility where we serviced workman's comp victims, and I had patients that had been, now this is what you consult a long-term acute care hospital. So this is like patients who require, high level services, but they're going to require it for an extended period of time. And so there are patients that had been in that facility or a facility of the same sort 20, 25, 30 years, and the company has to pay for it. So you're talking about some of these per diems in some of these facilities. Some of them are $2,500 a day. Sometimes some of them are $4,000 a day, depending on what the patient acuity is. So imagine being a company having to pay that for somebody for 30, 40 years, depending on how good of care that patient could live for a long time.
Man, look, you also have to pay there for insurance costs. You have to also pay.
That's exactly what I was about to say. They calculated the GM factory worker with all the benefits and hourly wages combined, came out to like $60 an hour.
Well, they can move to a different model, like a contractor role. But then again, the UAW is gonna fight against that.
I was gonna say that makes them practically useless at this point.
I think they are already useless. The fact that they can't renegotiate makes them useless.
Well, there was when Trump came into office, he did stop GM from moving their factory down to Mexico.
Yeah. But what did you think was going to happen if they couldn't do that? Plan B was what? Robots.
Yep. Dodge been down there. Everybody's been down there. GM like the last one to Mexico.
What happened when the fast food workers said $15 an hour? What did the fast food industry respond with?
Yep.
Kiosk. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
kiosk. It's a slow burn.
The fight for 15. You keep fighting, these computers will be here.
Fight for 15 computers inside the restaurant.
No, but I just feel bad because I know a lot of these people have been on strike before and things worked out in the past.
Checking for you. in the chat says that I will never buy a new car pointless. I would argue that a new car at the rates that they're going at would be you would have to be a financial yo-yo to not understand the return on investment there. If you can get a new Toyota Camry.
Wait, Mike, I stepped away for a quick second. What did you just say?
You would have to be a financial yo-yo. Checking for you in the chat says, I will never buy a new car pointless. You would have to be a financial yo-yo to not look at the incentives of a new car versus a used car. You can get a brand new Toyota Camry, which is what my coworker did, for $1,000 down and $49 a month. You can't beat that with a new car. You can't even get a new car for that kind of money. I mean, a used car for that kind of money. Sorry. So what I'm saying here is, buying cars right now, there's more incentive to buy a new car now than it is to buy an old used car. What's the point?
Well, and that's if you're looking at it from the practicality position. Now, if I'm looking at it from an appreciating value position, you know, we talk a lot of cars that we talk about. We look at as a specific classification of an asset. So from that standpoint, you know, buying something at one price point and it appreciating from that price point allows you the ability to either leverage that appreciation in value, you know, or if you want to just simply sell it, you could sell it at more than what you bought it. Either way, you turn a profit on an investment item.
Right.
So, you know, it's kind of how you look at cars. I mean, we don't look, we scrutinize the shit out of cars. Then there's cars that we say are highly prized or praised. And this is largely sort of based on our own leanings. Some of us are Porsche guys, some of us are Mercedes guys, some of us are GM, Ford. We kind of span the spectrum, right? But when you look at the market, especially for collector cars and stuff like that, I mean, there's a market for everything. You see, so whatever venue you're dealing in, there's going to be the things in that industry that depreciate in value and then the things that appreciate in value. So one angle in looking at purchasing a car at a certain price point is its appreciation value in which you may be able to get for it 5-10 years down the road.
Well, you know, based on checking for you's comment, he doesn't see any value at all. So for me, he says, oh, here he goes in the chat. I fix on cars. So I look at the price of parts for the car. I use the car for its utility. That is it. Not convincing me.
Well, I mean, no, that's I mean, you know, here's the thing, right? I use cars for utility. I drive a pickup truck, but
I took a station wagon.
Okay, yeah, I drive this because it's utility, right? I need it to do things. I pick up a lot of stuff, and then I move things around, on occasion or like often because of what I do. So it's utility. However, if the money is there, okay, if the money is there, and a 1970 or 71 BMW 2002 pops up on the market, and let's just say it's in really good mechanical condition, but it's just taking a little bit of beating to the metal from the sun or whatever. And the guy's like, look, man, I don't want to, just take it, man. Give me $4,000 for it. I'll happily give him $4,000 for it because I know that if I just put it back to just normal restoration, I could easily fetch probably 15 for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't deal with new cars myself. So if I do, I haven't bought anything that I didn't think was going to appreciate over time. But I would lease a new car if I found it to be, you know what I'm saying? I would lease a new car.
I
Well,
mean,
checking for you believes that the Earth is flat. So
huh?
no, checking for you, he believes that the Earth is flat. He says that back and forth, that is the car's purpose. I mean, I guess he is a big fan of Aaliyah, her first album. So
I mean, I mean, in its most rudimentary analysis, yeah, sure, back and forth, absolutely. But then, humans do on occasion exhibit, you know, choices and preferences, and some of that may demand, a more sophisticated level of engineering. You know what I mean? And then and it's the ingenuity, it's the engineering, it's all these other things that are going to give something its value, the craftsmanship, and all of that. Now, I mean, I'm not arguing against what the purpose of a vehicle is, because I use one every day, just that, go back and forth from like my home to work and work from home. I get that part, but then there's also there's also sort of like the whole sort of value in the conception, and why certain brands are held in certain esteem, have a certain have a certain value category or value proposition attached to them versus others. That's kind of what makes the market and all of that. And some vehicles that were produced are iconic for a multitude of reasons, and that's why you have things like concours, car shows, and car meetups, and track days, and all that kind of stuff.
It's a culture around it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what ultimately, because look, the cultural products as it extends from that, the tuner market that we were just talking about earlier, companies that make aftermarket wheels, paint shops. That's what it's like. Yeah, at the end of the day, utility is just that, utility, and that's ultimately what the thing was invented for. But humans have a way of improving upon its creations. That's how you get.
These gonna be the people that's just gonna walk outside and get into a pod, and this thing's just gonna whisk them off somewhere. The freedom of driving and traveling and exploring, like, I enjoy that just as much as the utility.
Yeah, but Ty City, you have to understand too. There will be a day where a lot of what we're talking about, and because of the way technology is now, these shows will be available for people 200 years into the future. They'll listen to this shit, and dude, they're gonna be so far beyond all this stuff that they're just gonna be like, why are those people ever debating that old ass technology? You know what I mean?
well, because they weren't checking for you.
Hey, I think checking for you is the type of guy that swap an LS1 and a Tesla, man.
That is sacrilege.
Hey, Mike V, I think checking for you works for the B1 network.
Oh, I'm not gonna get into that.
No.
I don't know.
Just joking. It's all love, man.
No, we need to close out anyways. But thank you all for joining us, man. And just hit the like button if you can. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. Also, subscribe to Super Triz and follow Super Triz on YouTube, youtube.com/Super Triz. And with that being said, we are out. Shalom.
Peace.